Time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived.
Eric told me to F off.
The man himself, Ariel Helwani.
Why would he say that? I said
from the Fox Studios in beautiful New York City. It's On the Nose. And now, to answer your questions, get out of your seats and on your feet because
he's throwing ultimatums my way.
Ariel
Threats.
Helwani.
This is scary. Any thoughts on Jalen Brunson signing with the New York Knicks or what? No. All right. I thought maybe
move
there was
of the century.
Move of the cinch, I said. We do have some breaking news right off the top here, Frank. I just want to let you know. El Cubano is kicking us off. Hola, Ariel. If I told you that at UFC 276, the last 3 matches of the night, Adesanya, Cannonier, Volkanovski, Holloway 3, Strickland, Pereira, ended with 1 knockout, 1 sub, 1 decision. How does each match end and who wins? Also, I'd love to hear New York Rick and GC's take on this as well. Viva Helwani. 1 decision. I'll go. Man, this is tough because I was gonna go. I was gonna go 1 knockout. This is tough. GC, you hear this?
It's the top 3 fights.
Top 3 fights, 1 knockout, 1 sub, 1 decision.
Easy.
No, it's not easy.
Strickland takes him down, gets a submission. Volk decision, Adesanya knockout.
Oh, wow. So you're going against your pick.
Well, if there was going to be a submission, I think that's how it would happen.
Okay, all right.
Strickland
I was going to say Pereira knockout, but then you're left with a sub in the top 2, and I don't think we're getting that. Although we did get a Geary sub. So you're saying, yeah, I think you're right. Strickland, sub, knockout, Izzy, decision, Holloway, Max. Excuse me, Holloway, Volk. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Is New York Rick here?
No, he's not going to be able to make it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Seems to be quite active. Mark, greetings, Ariel. Each day I'm hoping to see a heavyweight title update, and I think maybe, just maybe, I found a Stipe update. In Justin Barraso's recent article, here's New York Rick, Adesanya sub. Ooh, Volk decision, Pereira KO. Man, Adesanya sub? I mean, he's been talking about it. That'd be bananas. Could happen. What is Adesanya versus Cannonier sub? What would that be? It's got to be
last
plus.
I saw was plus 1,400.
Wow, really? Damn. Run with that. He said Miocic will be in Vegas over the coming days, and with 276 this Saturday, the possibility also exists that his next fight is announced, with opponents ranging from Jones, Gane, Tuivasa, and an interim title bout. No, his fight is not going to be announced. What are you talking about? First of all, Gane and Tuivasa have to fight each other September 3rd. And I've heard nothing on the Jones front. Now, could something happen between now and Saturday? Sure, but I've heard zero talk of that. They ain't talking about it for September 10th. That would be the next pay-per-view that needs, so maybe MSG is what I would say. November, they wanted it in July, maybe MSG, but no, I've heard nothing of that. Josh, hola Ariel, first time, long time. Question, why such hype around International Fight Week? I'm from Australia, and aside from this card being stacked from top to bottom, it doesn't stand out in any other way. Yes, plenty of talent, quite a focus on international fighter, but it's the same time zone, same cost, same promotion as your regular pay-per-view, isn't it? I feel like the UFC roster is deep enough to make each pay-per-view as strong as this one more often and do less fight nights during the year. For me, I think we should call this the Don't Hold Back card, as it's one of the small handful of amazing cards the UFC puts out per year. I feel like the hype around this being International Fight Week doesn't actually cut through to an international audience. Thoughts, Josh, in Australia. So here's the thing. I talked about this earlier. They started International Fight Week 10 years ago, and there was a period there in the beginning where they had the expo, the fan expo, and that was a really big deal. And it felt like a big deal, and they tried to put a big fight. The first one was Chael versus Anderson. You had Weidman versus Anderson as well. Connor fought a couple times. So they made it feel like a big deal, but it wasn't just about the fight. It was about the expos, about the festivities, about the meet and greets, about the signings. And then over time, they added a second card on either the Friday or the Sunday. And then at one brief period, they had 3 cards, which was way overkill. But they just tried to make it a little special. So now they also have the Hall of Fame. So it feels big. And it actually feels like the return, because they did International Fight Week last September because everything got screwed around because of COVID. This feels like the first big International Fight Week in quite some time. And I would say even dating back to pre-ESPN era, because they don't have the expo per se, but they're doing this UFC X thing with a ton of fighters. They've got a media row. it feels like 5-6 years ago where they had the expo and all the stuff going on, a bunch of events. It just feels like a culmination, a celebration, a big card, a great card. There used to be like a International Fight Week curse where they were always losing the main events and the big fights, but I hope that doesn't happen. Remember, they were supposed to get the Max Holloway, Brian Ortega fight, but that got canceled. Anyway, we don't need to talk about that. The Yoel Romero and Amanda Nunes fight got canceled. We don't need to talk about any of that. So far so good. We've just lost one big fight, and that's the Miocic Tate fight. And so I think it's a great marketing thing. They've got the X, they've got the Hall of Fame. So feels worthy. But yes, if you look at the actual card itself, top to bottom, it's just your very good UFC pay-per-view. It's worth the money, big time fights, big time fighters. If you're just looking at that, nothing more, nothing less, yes, I can understand why you think this is weird. But if you're going there and all the stuff and there's a bunch of activities, then it feels like International Fight Week. Marketing, baby, marketing. Max, hello, Ariel. Can you or any member of the team, GC maybe, describe the model of betting in the United States to me as a German? Over here, the odds are like maybe 1.2 for the favorite and, for example, 3.0 for the underdog, which means if you bet on the favorite and he wins, you will get your bet times 1.2. And if you bet on the underdog, you will get your bet times 3.0. The whole thing with minus 300 and plus 250 gets me confused every single time. Greetings from Germany, my man. What would you say to this nice German fellow, GC?
Yeah, so I actually just recently discovered the European odds, and they do make a ton of sense compared to the American odds. Yeah, like the minus 100, like minus 200, plus 150. Ours is on a scale of betting $100, whereas theirs is like on a scale of betting $1.
Interesting. I kind of like that better.
Yeah, so like if you bet $1, you would win, like in his example, $1.20 on the underdog, or that's what it would return. So you would win 20 cents, and then $3, or three, whatever the odds he said was, if you bet $1, it would return $3.
Yeah.
So you're profiting too. Yeah, I kind of like that better than ours, honestly. But
what do you know when this started? The plus 300 minus what?
Early 1900s.
Really?
I mean, sports betting has been around for quite some time.
I think it was 1908, also the year of the fish.
Thank you. I'm really shocked that you've never gone to Vegas like for March Madness or anything like that. Feels like right up your alley.
I've already marked my words. I've stamped it in stone. I will be at International Fight Week next year.
Oh, are you having a little FOMO?
Oh, I'm having big time FOMO.
It's not too late.
It's too late.
Early flight tomorrow morning. See you there.
It's too late.
Too late? All those winnings? Plus 30 units?
Yeah. That was spent in Europe.
All right, fine. Good morning from Idaho, Israel. Hot tag. Thoughts on Dana White's recent comments on Nate Diaz regarding that he's only won one fight in 5 years. Womp womp. But that he probably should go on and fight Jake Paul. That's a fight that makes sense, quote unquote. Also, thoughts on the recent controversy with WWE Vince McMahon. Rumors of Triple H leaking the story. Come on, that's just crazy. I'm not going to entertain that. Thank you as always. Yes, Dana said to the Mac Life, to Oscar Willis, when it was going back, they were going back and forth last week, and I'm so tired of the story. I can't tell you how tired I am of the story. Nate Diaz and the UFC want to be in business with each other. Just sign the freaking deal, and we can all move on with our lives. This, please, come and go, and this and then, and trying to devalue, and please, for the love of God, there's great business to be made. There are big fights. Do Diaz versus Poirier September 10th. Then if Diaz wins, or even if he loses, have him fight Conor. Maybe have him fight, Masvidal again, Tony Ferguson, whatever. But this back and forth is nonsense. No one believes that Dana will let him go fight Jake Paul. No one believes that Dana doesn't want to be in the Nate Diaz business, because they would have let him go a very long time ago if that was the case. It's all nonsense. It's all just bluster. It's silly. There's a deal. Sign the deal, make the deal. It's profitable, it's smart, it's lucrative. Just make it happen. For the love of everything that is sacred and holy, enough already. Enough. We got to move on. And yes, of course, it sucks to hear this type of stuff. It sucks to hear he's He's won one fight in 5 years because they're going to turn it around when he comes back and fights Poirier. No one will say that sort of thing. You never want to see a promoter devalue a fighter, but this is the game, and it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time, and this has been going on way too long. We got to move on. Killian, hello, Ariel. How much more would Max Holloway have to accomplish to surpass BJ Penn as the greatest Hawaiian MMA fighter of all time? I mean, BJ won 2 belts in 2 different weight classes. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, let's start there, right? He went up, interim belt, didn't win it. I mean, BJ has an incredible legacy. Respectfully, I mean, Max is incredible, but I don't think he's there quite yet. If you want to start somewhere, second belt would be the place to start. Otherwise, hard to, and BJ wasn't the biggest dude. Also, BJ fought like all the way up to 205 plus. Bella, Ariel, if Volk beats Oliveira, I mean, okay, I guess if Volk moves up, how would you compare the significance of the win to other title wins when fighters became champions in different weight classes? For example, DC beating Stipe, becoming double champion, being the greatest heavyweight champion of all time, or Couture beating Chuck in his prime. In addition, because we are talking hypotheticals, how would Jones beat Ngannou compare to those wins? Man, much love and appreciation. Greetings from Berlin. A lot of Germans on today's segment of On the Nose. Volk beating Oliveira, to me, would not be as big as DC beating Stipe because Oliveira isn't the decorated champion yet that Stipe was when DC beat him. Jones going up and beating Ngannou would be a huge deal, especially if he stopped him. Like, that would be a massive deal, in my opinion. Ngannou hasn't experienced that. So Volk's size would make it super impressive because he's a smaller guy. But of those 3, I would probably rank them DC beating Stipe, Jones beating Ngannou, and then Volk beating Oliveira. Angela, my good friend, shout out to Scotland. Shout out to Celtic FC. I have the jersey right over there. We had to move it because of the in-studio guest. Hi, Ariel. You know how much the show's become part of my weekly routine. You're like part of the family at this point. Wow, thank you. I appreciate it. I have dinner with you every Monday and Wednesday evening. I appreciate it. I hope you're having some haggis, perhaps? The show got me through lockdown, introduced me to new people in a community that I've grown very fond of. How does it feel for you and the team on the MMA Hour and the other shows that you do, knowing that you have such a huge and positive impact on people? And what does it mean to have this job that is ultimately a part of a larger community? Have a great trip to Vegas. Wow, what a nice question, statement, sentiment. It's incredible. And I really feel like I was thinking about this recently. I don't know what it was about the last year and the departure from ESPN, but I'm assuming a lot of the people who I know now have been around, have been following for quite some time, but it feels like for one reason or another, we created this connection and this friendship that wasn't there beforehand. And I don't know why that happened now, but I'm very, very thankful. Like, a lot of these people, including Angela, don't realize how much they helped me. The support, the positive vibes, the affirmation, the love, all that stuff means as much to me as whatever I provide to you. And I've always said that what I feel is most important about this role and this job is being an escape valve for people. So during the lockdowns and the pandemic early on, I really wanted to be an escape for people. I didn't want to talk about, COVID because I wanted people to be, either in their room or on a walk or exercise, something, and just thinking about something else. Like, I remember listening to some of my favorite podcasts, and all they were talking about was this depressing stuff, and there's enough places to get that. So I wanted to be an escape valve for other people. Now, sometimes there's times where you have to talk about the serious stuff and the tough stuff, but I just didn't want to harp on that right now. Now, we had to talk a little bit about the shows moving and the fights and all that, but for the most part, I wanted to have fun. I wanted to be an escape, and I've always had that approach. I've always had that belief that we need to be an escape. Sports are supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be something that lets you, think about other things, be a distraction. And what a gift that I have that I'm able to provide. I could be like, if someone is in their car, if someone's on a walk, if someone's having a crappy day, if someone's trying to pass the time, if someone wants to think about something else, they could choose a million different things on this device, on their car, whatever. and if you're gonna choose me, like what a huge honor that is. I mean, what a privilege that is. And so that honor and that privilege and that decision means a lot to me. And I feel like I need to deliver, and I need to, give a good product and produce some great content for everyone. And that's why I take the job so seriously. And it's why I've often said, I feel like I work for the people. You've had my back, everything that's happened over the years, the good, the bad, the job changes, the highs, the lows. It's just, I've always said, I feel so lucky that I've had this connection with so many people from all over the world, not just here in America, but in Europe, in Australia, in South America. I mean, all over the world. It's really been incredible. I feel very, very lucky, very fortunate. Great people like Angela, who always tweet about the show, who always post things on Instagram about the show. A lot of the people that we're going to be meeting, hanging out with this weekend, like this stuff is very important for me, because honestly, if we didn't have these people in our lives, if I didn't have this connection with these listeners, viewers, fans, I don't think this would be as fun. I consider these people friends, acquaintances, and I actually used to be very particular about who I follow on Twitter and this and that, and I wanted there to be some sort of guard up. And my Twitter experience has actually become a lot better now that I've started to follow a lot more of the quote unquote fans, because they're just regular good people, as opposed to some of the schmucks that you may follow who are the quote unquote famous ones. Those people suck. These people are the cool people that I want to see what they're talking about, or how their days are going and things of that nature. So I don't know. I don't take it too seriously. I don't overthink it, but I do take seriously the gift of being an escape. That's very, very important. And why I try to produce as much content and good content for the people. Being that escape for people who are having tough days, tough weeks, tough stretches, and they can listen to us. They can go on a plane and just close their eyes and listen. That's a huge, huge privilege. And I take that very, very seriously. And it means a lot to me. And so when I get feedback like this, it really does. It means a lot. I appreciate it. Newman. Hello, Ariel. Hello, Newman. First, I want to welcome GC back from his trip. How nice. His tape segments from across the pond were incredible. What a great addition he has been to the show. I agree. One of your recent shows a few weeks ago, you hinted at a big fight that we've been waiting for being added to August 20th, which is being held in the great cultural melting pot known as Salt Lake City. I haven't seen or heard anything about it. Can you elaborate any more on this? No longer happening. Maybe September 10th. Maybe September 10th, but not August 20th anymore. Welcome back, Ariel, Matt Mo. I hope you had a great time in Montreal last week. I had a phenomenal time, especially seeing my parents, and especially the gathering that I had with my longtime friends last Wednesday. I'm still on a high after all of that. I hope you had a great time in Montreal. Hopefully you hit up a Timmy's after Notre Boeuf de Grâce and got to try Justin Bieber's new Timbits, the Timbiebs. They've been a big hit. In Canada, I did not try them. In fact, I didn't go to Timmy's, and I apologize for that. After hearing GC talk about his subpar Bellator experience on Monday, I have some constructive criticism for the company as well. On Friday's prelims for Bellator 282, in the fight between Lara Joanne and Alejandra Lara, there was a huge amount of confusion with their uniforms. Lara was wearing all blue with red gloves, while Joanne was wearing all red with blue gloves. Meanwhile, the broadcast references fighters by glove color, not uniform color. You can see how this causes confusion and a very negative viewership experience. During grappling exchanges, when the gloves were hidden, someone just tuning in would literally not be able to tell which side or team is which, as they would naturally assume the color on the broadcast is referring to the uniform color, not the glove color. Interesting, yes. You can see how this would be confusing. Next time you talk to Scott Coker, please tell him to stop displaying fighters by glove color if their uniform is the opposite opponent's glove color. Bonus, what is your favorite Leonard Cohen song? By the way, I think that is a great point. I think it's probably an anomaly, but I think that is a great point, and I bet that they would say, yeah, you know what? You're right. Now, Leonard Cohen, the legend from Montreal, there's a great mural right next to NBG that I took a picture of. It's incredible. It's like he's watching over the entire city.
Did you post that?
I did post it, yeah.
I missed that, huh?
That's weird. I heard it was a teen song, and the ding, and you don't even hear me. Was it to you? I heard it was Sing it with me.
You know, he has other songs, right?
Wait, he asked me for my favorite song.
Oh, I didn't realize that was. Oh,
Yeah. What do you want me to name like 10? Hallelujah. Okay, name your favorite song.
Hallelujah.
All right. That is your favorite?
Yeah.
All right. Now you're being all snobby. Here's a question. Can you name a second one?
No.
Jordan. Hello, Ariel from England. Just wondering what your interactions with John Copenhaver, a.k.a. War Machine, were like. Was recently watching a documentary about him and you featured in it, interviewing him on a small regional show. Wow. This made me think also about how early in your career you say you went to every show. This just proves it. Was that a small? I think I would go to some small shows in Vegas when I was there. I didn't go to every single show, that's for sure. My interactions with him were always fine. There was one time that both he and Christy Mack were on together, and that's been used in other places. Yeah. I don't know what that is there a documentary about War Machine? I saw the Real Sports story on him.
There's a pretty popular YouTube channel called JCS. I think it stands for Jim Can't Swim. And
Okay.
he did a whole thing on War Machine. It was actually a little bit over an hour.
Really?
Yeah, and that channel has had some issues lately, like YouTube taking them down for content of all things. 'Cause
Okay.
it's usually just like a true crime kind of thing. But he does it. I thought he did a really good job, and he does use some of your segments back with Fox and everything that were used tastefully, I thought.
Wow. Okay. I've not seen it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, embarrassingly, I've seen it more than once.
Wait, the documentary?
This video that I'm talking about, yeah.
You've watched it multiple times?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's I don't want to call it entertaining, but it's informative. I don't know. It's interesting. And like I showed it to my wife.
And we're in it. The show's in it.
The show's in it. Yeah.
Wow. Old school.
Very old school.
But anyway, I didn't have, I mean, obviously what happened, reprehensible, horrific, I mean, what can you say? Every bad word in the book. But as far as my interactions with him, there was never anything that was alarming. Patrick, favorite segment of the week. 2 quick questions. Ariel, what's more likely this weekend? You taking pictures with Ali or taking a picture with DC and RC? I would say the latter. GC, welcome back. When you're making your critically acclaimed videos and memes, how many times do you smirk thinking about Ariel saying, how did he do this as soon as he sees it?
None.
Wow. Kinda
I do
hurts.
smirk a few times as I'm going through it, though.
I mean, it's good stuff. You cooking up anything for IFW?
Might have a thing or two.
Wow.
Wait, I mean, I could call the night off and just come over.
Whoa.
Nah, I'm just joking.
Getting a new pizza on
What kind?
Saturday. It's a restaurant in Brooklyn, Crispy Pizza.
Hmm.
Big hit on Instagram. Looks amazing.
Oh, I've seen this with a K.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, I've seen this. Wait, that's an actual place?
Yeah, I've even
Yeah,
tried
it's
to
only
order
like
from
15
them.
minutes from my crib. I'm going.
It's a big deal?
It looks amazing. Frank,
Oh.
white pizza, 1 chicken bacon
Yeah,
ranch.
The ranch.
I'm still on my Italy kick. I think the drink of choice, some limoncello spritz.
Limoncello spritz.
I mean, it's a
nice.
full Italian night pizza, limoncello spritz.
One bite, everyone knows the rules? I'm just kidding. I'm just
I was going to say, sure.
By the way, I didn't ask you this. Best meal you had in Europe?
Oh man, this is actually a really crazy one. It was in Florence, Italy,
Okay.
and it was curry, shrimp, and rice. Very not Italian.
Shrimp and rice. Interesting. Why?
Best-
Why
One
that?
of the best meals I've ever had in my life. It was just so good. Like, it was just unbelievable. It was so good, I took a picture with the owner, this small 80-year-old Italian man. And I was like, I had the curry, shrimp, and rice. And he was like, I own 5 restaurants. That is always the first thing I put on the menu. It's my specialty. I was like, wow. I picked a winner.
And this was an Italian restaurant?
Very Italian.
And you said, I need to meet the owner. I need to shake his hand.
Well, he was walking around.
Oh,
and then I
okay.
stopped him and I was like, are you the owner? Yeah, he did the very Italian thing, brought us limoncello shots after the meal.
Wow. I was
it was-
expecting like pizza here or pasta here.
Oh, in Paris, I had an unbelievable truffle gnocchi. That was number 2.
Wow.
Dude,
It was unbelievable.
man.
By the way, it's actually pronounced gnocchi.
I got nervous. We went over that before the show. I just got nervous again.
Is it really called Ganaki?
No, I messed that up. My bad. Gnocchi.
Gunachi?
Yes. No, it's gnocchi.
Gnocchi.
Yeah. Wow.
I just
Gnocchi's good.
had some 3 days ago.
Yeah, it's tremendous. What about tortellini? Any tortellini?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. Where I was at, where the wedding was at, very big truffle area. And at the wedding, there was truffle tortellini.
Well, you did the second video. Were you guys staying there?
The wedding party was. My girlfriend was in the wedding party. So
Wow.
by connection.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Talk about a freeloader. Now, what was that? Like, was that like a man? What was that?
It was a 18th, 17th century villa.
Wow.
It was the 1700s. 16th century? No. 18th century villa. Built in the 1700s. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And how many people were there?
Staying there were like 15 to 20. And the thing was huge. It was
It's
gigantic.
incredible. You had your own pool and everything.
Pool,
Seemed serene.
like paintings on the ceiling. That's like the type of place this place was. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Will never be topped. Trip of a lifetime.
And you said
And-
there were cats that lived there?
Oh, yeah. Very allergic to cats. I did have to.
Oh,
Yeah. I
a
had
lot
to
of
scare
cats in Europe.
Yeah, scare some cats off.
Homeless cats.
I mean, actually, yeah.
Legit homeless cats.
I mean, they leave the doors open. Yeah, they'd wander in. I'd have to, act all crazy.
Wow. You went to the Louvre.
The Louvre?
Did you went to the Eiffel Tower? Did you go to the Sistine Chapel?
No.
Did you go to
Actually, I don't
Rome?
know where that is.
The
No,
Vatican?
I flew out of Rome, so no, I didn't.
Colosseum?
Nope, didn't go to Rome. Only
Did
went to-
anyone recognize you throughout the entire trip?
No.
Not a single?
No, who's going to recognize me in Europe?
I don't. By the way, we're big in Europe. I was in Montreal. I couldn't go. I mean, I couldn't go 5 minutes without someone stopping.
That's your hometown, man.
Actually, no one cares about me in Montreal.
Okay.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
So who was the camera operator?
Oh,
That'll stay classified. Thank you.
yeah, you're gonna
All
break
right.
the fourth wall?
I mean,
You won't even tell everyone your DJ name, but you
Yeah.
want me to
Yeah, what
give
the
out
hell?
my camera people.
Yeah, what the hell?
it's DJ Frankie Frank.
Oh, DJ Frankie Frank?
Yep.
It's tremendous.
Original.
The second question, follow up. The microphone that you were using.
Real.
I want.
I was just about to say before you
I
said
never
the question.
questioned if it was
Yes, you did.
real or not.
You
I
100%
questioned
did.
it's not a lavalier microphone, and it seemed kind of like a gag microphone because it was like a miniaturized version of like an SM58, which
Wow, look at that. What a flex that was.
Big audio. guy here.
just the microphone that JFK gave the inauguration address on. But whatever.
So is this a question, or are you just trying to flex?
So
on
the
Ariel
question
with
is,
your
where did
audio
you get
knowledge?
it? Like, did you bring it from the States or did you find it out there?
Yeah, I brought it from the States, Amazon.
Okay, cool.
$9. Most people use it to interview dogs. The dogs sniff the microphone.
That's so
It's a real funny TikTok trend. I used it to create what someone called art while I was over there.
Yeah, no, it's
Can you
tremendous.
just plug it straight into your phone or?
So the first one was iPad, plugged straight into the iPad. Didn't like the framing. Wanted to go wide zoom on my cameraman's phone, so I got a dongle, plugged it
Nice.
straight in.
Dongle's a
My
great
man.
word. I had just had two other follow-ups, if I may. The first one is, if you can shoot straight with us, what percentage of the shows did you watch? Like, and what percentage was live as well? Like, did you say, like, you know what? I know I'm here. I'm in the middle of, I don't know, Paris, whatever. It's 7 o'clock because they're 6 hours ahead, right?
6 hours ahead. I was 6 hours ahead the whole trip. You said dongle's a great word. Doesn't translate well. The people when I bought it had no idea what I was talking about. Shows that I watched, I checked in on every show.
Just to see if the ship was still, you know,
Yeah,
like
it's
afloat.
typically around dinner
All right.
time. I turned it on during the wedding. It was a Wednesday night wedding.
Wow, really? Wednesday
yeah,
night wedding.
Yeah,
Interesting.
well, I guess that's what they do over there. Yeah, I turned it on. When you were doing the betting segment from France, I was already in Geneva. I was at a bar in Geneva at like 10:30 p.m. when it was airing over here. That was kind of trippy.
Wow, that is weird. And you were like, I know these guys. Look at these guys. They're talking about me right now.
No.
No one cared.
No one was. Yeah, no one cared. Unfortunately, I asked if they could put it up on the bar TV.
Oh,
I had HDMI.
did you really?
Yeah, they said absolutely not.
That would have been big.
Would have been huge. Would have been huge.
All right. Back to the questions. Rami, Ariel, in what order do you get dressed in the morning? This may sound weird, but I put on my underwear first, then my socks second, shirt third, then my pants. Bonus question, when you brush your teeth, do you wet your toothbrush before or after you put the toothpaste on it? Wow, fantastic stuff. To answer the second question first, I don't wet the toothbrush first. I put the toothpaste on it, then I wet the toothbrush, and then I... No? Why? You wet it first? What's the point of that? It's just going to slide right off.
It's to soften the bristles.
No.
I mean, that's what it says on the directions to
Really?
my toothbrush.
No, I just go straight. Psh, what do you do, GC?
Yeah, I'm actually toothbrush first, toothpaste.
You wet the toothbrush first?
And then you put
Yeah.
water on the toothpaste,
And then
right?
it's going to slide right off.
No. And then I just go straight into the mouth.
Straight. What do you mean? Oh, wait. You go wet the toothbrush, put the toothpaste, then you don't wet it again?
No.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, that's. I will say historically, this happens to my daughter a lot. Maybe I should explain. She puts the toothpaste on first. Maybe she's following my footsteps. Then she'll put it under the sink, and then the touch isn't there quite yet. And a lot of times, like the faucet is like at full blast, so we'll just like wipe it all off. You know what I mean? And then we have to do it again.
Yeah, that's what I fear.
And then there's like a big clump in there.
I'm very interested to see how you answer question one because I felt
Why is that?
I felt the way this guy answered it was pretty chaotic.
Really weird. Yes. Okay. So yes, of course you put your underwear first, right? Everyone does. Then his socks second is bizarre as hell, right? Do we agree with this? Underwear first.
I think the pants coming last is the most bizarre part.
Yeah.
You don't leave your pants by the front door?
No. Underwear first. Then I go. This is what I do. Underwear first. Shirt second. Pants third. Socks fourth. What about you guys?
I'm underwear, pants, shirt, socks.
What about you, Frank?
Just put my pants on, then my shirt.
Yeah. What about the rest?
I mean, that was implied that comes before the shorts or the pants.
Why is it so difficult with you all the time? Taco enthusiast. Hey, Ariel, fun and very easy question today. I'm going to my first live MMA event on Friday, PFL in Atlanta. You going to that, GC?
Yeah, that's why I'm missing international fight.
I'm curious, why would you go to a UFC event in Atlanta and not PFL?
Superior product.
Wow. Someone, EK, can you clip that off real
Go
quick
ahead,
and tag PFL? Since PFL prices are much less cost-wise than UFC events, I'm thinking about splurging on some floor seats. Woo! However, I've heard mixed reviews about floor seats when it comes to actually watching fights. For a fight fan that's purely interested in watching the fights and doesn't care about the scene, do you think floor seats are worth it? What are the best seats to watch a live MMA event? Floor is the best. I mean, if you could get floor, like legit floor, and you're just literally up there watching. Now, if you're floor 10 rows back, no, it's not great. But if you're, 1 or 2 rows back, yeah, I would splurge. Let me put a PFL here on, okay. You can't, I just put PFL on StubHub and there are no tickets. Anyway, I hope there's tickets available for you. The point is, if they're affordable, I would get the close-up ones. It doesn't look like a big venue over there. But if it's a big venue, if it's like T-Mobile, actually being in the middle, I think is good because you don't want to get blocked by the cameraman around the cage. They're actually I will say this about MMA, and this is the case for all MMA. It's fun to be there, especially UFC is the best by far. It's not even close. The production, the energy, the vibe is the best by far. It's fun to be there, big event, Vegas, New York, whatever. The energy is great. It's memorable. 1 or 2 times, awesome. However, there are some sports that are actually better at home as opposed to in person. For just strictly live viewing experience, MMA is one of those sports. Football, better at home than in person. Hockey, better in person than at home. Baseball, there's there's pros and cons, but I would say just the experience is fun, but you want to watch the game, TV is better than in person. Basketball, I would also say, basketball is probably the only one that I would say is great both, but obviously in person is awesome because you get to see the athleticism. But for MMA, it's way better at home. Middle, you get to see into the cage. You get to see the screen a little bit, but you'll end up seeing the screen a lot. You'll end up watching the screen a lot, especially when they're on the ground. Your seats are where on July 16th, GC?
Up top, first row, centered up.
Like 400s?
300s. I don't think there is 400s there.
Okay.
I'm upper level, but I'm first row and centered up.
You've been to that arena, right? UBS?
I have. Yeah,
I heard it's great.
Great arena. Great arena. I'm looking forward to it. Take the old LIR out there.
Yeah. Double R. Trench, safe Ariel. Safe Ariel. Interesting. What does safe mean? Sort of like hello? Would you like to see more regulation and promotion? Cage Warriors, for example, promotion, management, and brand sponsors all owned by the CW owner. Oh, don't get me started on this. He's going to get all mad at me. He's going to ban his fighters from talking to me. Wah, wah, wah. He's going to send me mean messages. Do we really want to open this wound? Seems to be if you want to be in the UFC, you have to be under their management and sponsors, which suck. There's a fighter named Dominique Wooding who is talking about these sorts of things right now. I would like to see more of the road to UFC events where local talent could come from other local promotions and not have to get on both knees to these promoters who take the piss and locking you in so they can make money off of you in their promo and into the UFC. I mean, we've talked about this before. Certain promotions are going to work with certain other promotions, and I just don't like, look, call me a stickler, call me old-fashioned. I don't like when you're a promoter and you work as a manager as well, and you're basically taking the fighters from your promotion and then signing them and then bringing them over to the UFC and not wanting to do business with other promotions because that is in the best interest of your fighter. If a fighter says he wants to go sign with this guy, like, you have to do that deal. That's your job. You are working for them. They are not working for you. So I don't want to get, I'm tired of, I don't want to talk about it because, like, these dudes are, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's tiring at this point. There's a lot of shady people in this game. And there's a lot of people who take advantage of the fighters. Hola, Ariel. Michael from Australia here. Longtime listener, first-time caller. This is from Michael. Give us your top 3 stand-up comedians of all time. Keep up the good work. And as always, Viva Helwani. Top 3, man. Jerry Seinfeld, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Patrice O'Neal. I really like Sebastian. I can never pronounce his last name. Muskakis or something like that, right? I don't know his last name. But he's very good. Chris Rock. I feel like Frank has a good list. Richard Pryor, legend. I was never a big George Carlin guy. Rodney Dangerfield, legend. But Seinfeld by far my favorite. What about you?
For me, it's Bill Hicks, Mark Maron, and then Jim Jeffries right now.
Wow. You listen to Mark Maron's podcast?
I haven't in a few years, but yeah, I used to be really into it.
McKinney.
Seen him live a couple times.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Ariel, my man, how are you? I enjoyed the discussion you had a few weeks ago regarding the top rap albums of all time and listening to how you weighed in on the matter. Whilst on the topic of charts or lists, who would you say is your Mount Rushmore of TV show characters? I have a feeling Larry David will be one of them, but I'm happy to hear the rest. All the best from Derry, Ireland. It's a great question. Man, TV show characters. It's funny, I could probably do like a Mount Rushmore of just Seinfeld characters. I mean, George Costanza up there, Frank Costanza up there. This is Frank Costanza. We are moving in lock, stock, and barrel. We're going to be in the pool. We're going to be in the clubhouse. We're going to be all over that shuffleboard court. And I dare you to keep me out. That's it. We're not moving. Estelle Costanzo, tremendous. Why do you put the bananas in the Jell-O? 'Cause George likes the bananas. That's a good impression right there, right? I mean, is that not a good
impression ever?
I heard some laughs.
Everyone's cracking up.
'Cause George likes the Yes.
These are supposed to be impressions.
Yes. That's not an impression? My throat is a little. I mean, Kramer was a legend. If I'll only take one, I'll take one from Seinfeld, and I'll say George. Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Please leave a message at the beep. Fred Savage, all-time great. Wonder Years. And this is mine personally, right? Like I'm not. Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Loved him there. Carlton was great too. Damn, Carlton was great. But Will was just so damn cool. Like when we were in high school, Will was just the coolest. So Mount Rushmore. So I have 3 there. Fred Savage, Wonder Years, I loved it. George Costanza. Yeah, Larry David would be up there. Trying to think. Tony Soprano, never saw an episode, but I hear he's great. The other dude from the other show, I hear they're great. There's got to be another one. Frank, you got one?
And these are just characters from shows for
Yeah.
Rushmore.
Yeah.
No, I don't watch enough television, I don't think.
GC. He's too young.
Man, I mean, Sopranos. I'm actually about to finish that right now. Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Walter White, Breaking Bad. Thomas Shelby, Peaky Blinders, fantastic.
Larry David.
Larry David's pretty great. Larry David.
Matt Saracen.
SquarePants. Matt Saracen, Friday Night Lights.
Yes.
Let's
I love Friday Night
go.
Lights.
Coach in that show went to Georgia. Shout out to him.
Did he? What was his name on the show?
Coach Taylor.
Coach Taylor. His wife was great too. That's a fun question. But for me, top 2 favorite shows of all time, Seinfeld, Wonder Years. You guys ever see the Wonder Years?
Couple episodes.
Just a couple?
I mean, I think that shows the gap between you and I. It's more for your generation.
What are you talking about? We're like the same age.
No, I mean, I was a little younger, so.
GC's never seen the Wonder Years. He's seen the remake.
I actually don't even know if I've ever heard of the Wonder Years.
You're
Have you ever
kidding.
heard of Freaks and Geeks?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
Freaks
so
and Geeks
I
I've
would put that
actually seen.
above Wonder Woman.
Wow.
Wonder.
Wait, you've heard of Freaks and Geeks, GC?
I've seen Freaks and Geeks. Yeah, got the
Seth Rogen.
star-studded cast. Yeah,
Yeah.
before their time.
Which leads me to this question, Ariel. How much Degrassi Junior High did you watch?
Never
growing
really
up?
watched it. Never
Really?
watched it.
I still watch
with your
it.
boy on it.
Yeah, it was around, but never really watched it. Watched a lot of You Can't Do This on Television on
The
YTV.
Wonder Years, dude.
You have
I've
no
never
idea what the Wonder Years
I've
are.
never even seen this, like anything about this before.
Wow.
8.4 on IMDb. Nice rating.
Yo, could you do me a favor and just watch I mean, it's as
You gotta watch at least
iconic
a
as
few
it gets.
episodes.
Watch what you do if I sang out of tune. I mean, the Wonder, to me, like that is my adolescence. God, have I
Still
become?
think Degrassi for you.
No, I've become that guy. I've
What's about
become.
the Arnolds? Nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Abe, Ariel, I think Herb Dean's one of the best around. However, it feels recently fighters / ex-fighters have nothing good to say about him, and he's made a few costly errors like Rosenstrike, Gamagulev, illegal knee, and some others. Maybe he'd benefit from a break from the high-profile fights. I mean, there aren't that many out there, right? There aren't that many great refs out there. My question is, should fighters be penalized when speaking out directly against an official? Heck no. I hate that. P.S. I think alongside open scoring, MMA should at least have a VAR system and give refs the benefit of instantly reviewing footage when unsure. Some states do that, and it might slow things down, but I don't hate it. Josh, Shalom Ariel, first time asking. Before the question, I just want to say thanks for the laughs and memories, as this show has often been the backing track for 2 years off and on MCAT studying and delivering the mail for Canada Post in grand old Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Still waiting to hear about med school. Good luck to you, Josh. Last week, while you were on break, it came across my Twitter feed that it had been 15 years since the Chris Benoit tragedy. I was 9 years old at the time, and I remember how the news coupled with the death of Eddie Guerrero really changed my WWE fandom from being a super fan into a casual that soon drifted away completely. I haven't watched a full WWE event in at least 10 years, he says. Just wondering what you remember from that tragedy, what your immediate reaction was, and how you feel the Benoit tragedy affected the trajectory of the WWE onwards as they made the transition from 14A to PG-13. I found out about that tragedy from Kurt Angle. There was a period of time Kurt Angle and I were really close. I met Kurt Angle. I was working for a production company, and I wrote a skit for him, and he took a liking to me, and he said that I reminded him of Brian Gewirtz, the longtime WWE writer who became, this huge star with The Rock behind the scenes. Actually, he has a book coming out, and I'm looking forward to reading that. He went to Syracuse, I went to Syracuse, and for whatever reason, Kurt took a liking to me. And I remember Kurt and I used to talk on the phone for hours, like 1 to 2 hours, I swear. He was considering an offer from the IFL. He was considering an offer from Tough. He was in TNA at the time. He had just left WWE. He gave me my first interview on jerrypark.com back in October of 2007. I mean, Kurt and I were super close. And Kurt was the one who texted me and told me about it before the news came out. Told me about it that day. It was on a Monday. He was at a TV taping, a Raw taping, and told me about it. And I was in shock. And I remember flying somewhere. I was going somewhere on JetBlue that night, and I watched the Raw episode from a plane. And the whole thing was shocking because at first we didn't know what happened. We thought that Benoit and his family were murdered. And then we come out to find out that he murdered his family and then committed suicide. Horrific, shocking, heartbreaking. I mean, just an absolute insane story. Just insane. And very, very, very hard to come to grips with. And I will say, like Josh, I did stop watching for a very long time after that. I've even talked about that on this show, like how I was totally out, not watching. I knew nothing about NXT. I knew nothing about, what was going on over there. Shinsuke Nakamura and Sasha Banks and Bayley. Like when that, I remember New York Rick was going to NXT event in Brooklyn, and I knew nothing about it. Now, obviously, keep up with it a little bit, but yeah, that was just it was hard because you wondered how much wrestling had to do with what happened, the pain, the physical toll, the CTE, all that stuff. I mean, just as a sports fan, I mean, in wrestling, you see a lot of shocking things and a lot of heartbreaking things. This up there, Owen Hart was an absolute tragedy. This one also a tragedy, but it was just like, man, he did it. Like, just crazy, criminal. Very, very tough. Very tough. There's Dark Side of the Ring episode on it that's really tough to watch as well. But yeah, that's how I found out. Aaron, hey Ariel, in the spirit of Danny Sabatello cursing up a storm on the show, I'd like to know what your favorite and most used curse word is. Please also relay the question to GC, New York Rick, and Mysterious Frank. Best regards from Milwaukee. Aaron, why don't you go first, Mysterious Frank, because I noticed that you've been cursing a lot these days.
Is that true?
Yeah.
What do I say?
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable saying any of that on the air.
No, you don't have to say the...
It's a like a mix around the D and the F.
Okay.
When joining two words that are not nice. How do I describe it?
Yeah, it's a tough one. What about you, GC?
Pretty frequent user of the F word.
Yeah.
I mix them all into my daily vernacular.
I don't curse, so I can't really answer the question. Gary, greetings, Lord Helwani. My question is short. Is there any reason why you haven't had Charles Oliveira on the show during this run? I feel like if he learned more English, he'd be one of the biggest stars in the game here in the U.S. Don't disagree. Of course, he already is in Brazil. Fellow Jew from the Big Apple here, Viva Helwani. I've probably asked his team 5 million times for him to come on. And look, he doesn't have to come on. But I will say part of the reason why I don't think he is as big as he could be is because he doesn't do any media. He hardly does any media. So yeah, I asked him before the last fight, after the last fight. Hard guy to pin down. Easy to get him when he was trying to get the title shot. But again, but yes, I have asked. It's not for a lack of trying, but and I don't think it's personal. They just say he doesn't want to do media. What can you do? Hello. This is from Hello Hello, and I say hello to you. If Max regains the title, Moreno wins the interim later this month, you think we could see Max Volk 4 and Moreno Figgy 4 on the same card before the end of the year? Same card? That's kind of cool. Yeah, sure. Why not? That'd be fun. Edward Sheehan, Ariel, have you any thoughts as to why China has not produced many fighters for the UFC? We have Weili Zhang, Yadong, The Leech as the most prominent fighters, but few else. They're coming along. I mean, there's a lot of countries that haven't produced. I mean, just look at, obviously China is gigantic, but it's coming along. It's coming along. You have a Chinese champion. We had one. They've got the Institute over there, so I don't know if there's a specific reason why, but, the sport needs to expand, and I know that there's the ties to martial arts, but I'd say it's coming along. Is there a reason why we don't see many East Indian fighters? It's hard to believe that in a country with nearly 1.4 billion people, there wouldn't be fighters coming out left and right. China was a massive market opportunity. India has nearly the same population. Very interesting question. I don't really know what the reason is. Again, it's coming along, but I would say that the sport was essentially born here in North America, and then it started to expand out, and this is just part of the expansion. You have to remember also, it was born in 1993, so it's not that old, and we're starting to see it spread to different, not that long ago, having an Australian champion was insane. New Zealand champion, insane. So I'd say give it, 10, 20 years, and you'll start to see a hell of a lot more champions from different countries. Sniffing out solutions, Sir Schnoz, looking for a possible hot take. I want to know who's your most overrated fighter in the UFC. For me, all love and great respect to the man, it would have to be DC. Get the F out of here. What are you talking about? How could you be overrated if you're a 2-division champion? Never truly won the light heavyweight belt, BS. Won the heavyweight belt with one punch that he couldn't defend in 2 later fights. What does that mean, he won in one punch? He freaking won the fight. What? Undoubtedly a great fighter, but legacy Hall of Famer, your opinion? Lewis adds, I believe if DC had considered the full options available to him for his Hall of Fame inductor or introducer, or even if DC comes correct in a speech, Sniffing Out Solutions may reconsider their opinion. Look, I don't know if he's going to mention me. I'm not holding my breath. If he mentions Ryan Clark and not me, I'm leaving. Okay, I just want to tell you that. I'm walking out. But that being said, you got to give the guy props. Won the light heavyweight title. It wasn't his fault that Jones was out. He did what he had to do. And then he goes up and he wins the heavyweight belt against the most decorated champion. And then he's in his 40s and he's hanging with him, and their last fight was super close. Get out of here. I think you can make a case for Ronda being one of the most overrated fighters. The level of competition wasn't as great, and she didn't end up being as good as people were saying at the time. Remember we were talking about her versus Floyd? Remember we were talking about her being Mike Tyson? Come on. Last one. Jesus, superb day to you and your crew, Mr. Helwani. Your betting streak might be ice cold at the moment. Thanks, Jesus. But our show-ending question streak is alive and well, flourishing even. I agree. I hope you're not missing your children too much, and keep in mind that they are probably having a blast on the trip. You're about to make me cry. I just keep thinking, what are they doing now? I'm not going to get to talk to them. I don't know. I sent them 3 emails already in less than 24 hours.
It's going to be all right.
It's tough, man. It really is tough. You know how I dread going away on trips? I'm actually really looking forward to the trip just so I don't have to walk past their empty room. It's tough.
That slays me.
Yeah. In previous shows, you've asked a lot of fighters what their thoughts were on their children following their path, most recently with Max. What is common in their responses is that they are usually never too excited about the idea. Being a high-level athlete is not for everyone, especially in the sport of MMA. I wonder how other high-level athletes in other sports think about the matter. If your children decide to pursue professional sports in the future, what are some things you'd like them to keep in mind when trying to pursue this goal? And how would you feel about the matter? Thank you to everyone in the show. Until next time, Viva Helwani. Now, I think he's talking about being an athlete as opposed to being an interviewer, right? Or is he trying to make the connection like how I would ask Max about his son fighting? How would I feel about my son following me in sports media? If it's that, I would say go for it. If it's being an athlete, I would say go for it. Obviously, the top 1% make it. So I would just say, have a fallback plan. But look, I would be a horrendous father, and I would be very hypocritical if I didn't let my kids do whatever they wanted to do, because my parents never said, are you sure about that? In fact, there were a couple times where I wanted to quit and they persuaded me not to quit. Never questioned me, always supported me, never said it was a bad idea, never said, don't go to Syracuse, don't go to New York, don't go to this, don't go to that, never said it's time to give up, never said change your plans, never said it's time to, build a family, get married, this, that. Never put any kind of pressure on me whatsoever. Couldn't have been more supportive even when they knew nothing of what I was doing or understood what I was doing. So I will be the same. I will have the same approach, and I can't wait to see what they do. But golly, I don't want that day to come anytime soon. My daughter is at home now. She's not at sleepaway camp, thank God, and I just want to freeze her. I want her to stay 5 forever. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like when she goes away. Yeah, my mom let us go away, move away, go to. I don't even know how she handled that. It's very tough, and I know everyone goes through this. I'm not special, but they were walking. I was like, all right, so I'm going to see you in a month. I'm not going to talk to you, see you, nothing. Crazy. One thing though, did I mention this top of the show? I might have. Yes, I did. It's been a long day. I told my son to give me a thumbs up in the pictures, and he did, and it was incredible. So I hope he's having a great time. I hope they're having a great time, and I hope you all have a great time this weekend, whether you're watching Money in the Bank, whether you're watching UFC 276, whether you're watching the Hall of Fame, whether you're taking in all the great content. And if you're out there in Vegas land, come hang out with us Friday, 7:30. Those jabrones won't be there, but I will be there, hobnobbing it up, shaking hands, being a man of the people as I love to be. And who knows, maybe we'll have a Guinness together. Maybe we'll lay down a few, half, maybe 1/4.
The second half
the
of
corner
the
and
first.
don't tell anyone that you're not drinking anymore.
It doesn't matter. Maybe we'll lay down a couple of these, a future bet on the Bills here, a future bet on the Knicks there, a future there, a future here. It's going to be great.